So hi guys, welcome to Obsessed with the Best with Alex and Tina. I'm Alex Ferrara here with Tina Scariano, and we have a really special episode today where we're gonna let you guys meet our moms. So first up is my mom, K.Ferrara, and then
we've got my mom, Susan Scariano.
We're so excited. Hello.
There she is.
Ladies.
How are you?
I am so good. How are you?
We're good.
So good. You look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. You are gorgeous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cute sweatshirt over here, but your setup is so cute.
I love that.
I always arrange it so we can get the polish in.
Yep. Love it. Our beautiful K.Ferrara polish. Amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's just jump right in, and we're going to kind of come at you real quick with questions and just get to it. Okay.
I'm ready.
So, hi mom, how are you?
Hi Alex, I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're very excited to have you on.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be on.
I was talking to Tina right before you came on, where basically you kind of taught me what a multi-hyphenate was before there was even a term. Because when I was growing up, you always had 50 million jobs. There was at one point you were doing greeting cards. You were doing jewelry at one point. You were also modeling, also in commercials, also doing makeup, production. Now you have K.Ferrara Color. So I kind of want to wind it back and take it back to the beginning, which is you started modeling. That was your first thing. You started modeling, but so young. Weren't you 15?
I was 15. There is was a big department store here in St. Louis called Sticks, Bear and Fuller. And they were doing an open call, and me and my best friend, Chris, went down. I couldn't even drive. She had to drive us. She was a year older than me. And, they were like, yeah, let's do this. This is great. And so I started modeling for them first, which was crazy, and then was picked up by an agency, which was actually not Talent Plus. There was another agency in town called Phoenix Models at the time. And I worked with them first, and then went on. Talent Plus is one of the biggest agencies in town. So then I went on and signed with Talent Plus at 15 and a half.
Oh my God. I can't imagine being 15 years old and having a career that
was crazy.
Wild.
It was crazy. And in fact, at the time, I don't know if they still do this kind of thing now, but the high school I went to, they did this work program where my senior year, the second semester, I could do half a day of school and half a day of work. So they worked with me because I was working so much that I maneuvered this half day of school my senior year. It was crazy.
Okay. So this is how you have that amazing energy, this total great structure. You are an entrepreneur, business lady, do it all. Cause you've been doing it since you were 15.
Yes, I've been doing it since I was 15. I love being busy. I love having a million things going on at one time. That's when I feel like I'm my best. I worry about myself when I don't have enough going on because I feel you know what I mean? I just am not in the best mood, and I think I'm going to get in trouble or something. You know what I mean? I'm going to start something bad. So I always have to be really busy.
So how do you stay balanced and healthy and not go insane? Because I get busy and I get overwhelmed and I self-destruct sometimes.
Yeah. I hear you. I take really, really good care of myself. I mean, I really do. It's so important to me. And luckily, some genetics where alcohol doesn't sit right with me. So I can't, I can have a big night out as half a glass of wine for me, or part of a drink.
Helpful.
And I take, because we've talked about this, I take so many supplements. I love my supplements. I love anything that, supports my energy. So yeah, that's really
love
important.
That.
And you literally have more energy than we do. So
well, I don't know about that.
It's true. It's true.
A million things also. So
you do. Well, I need a nap sometimes and you don't. So that's the difference. So, okay. So you start working at 15, but then you moved to Chicago by yourself and you live in an apartment alone with your cat at 17 years old.
I did.
We did that at 23. I moved to New York by myself and at 23, but you did that after college, but you did that at 17. So what was that
gosh.
like being on your own at 17 and also modeling in the 80s? Like that's such a time.
That is a time. It was definitely a time. So yeah, and a piece of that is now being a mom. It's like, how did my mom and dad let me go to Chicago on my own at 17? Like, yay for them, because it was great and it was such a great experience. I was with an agency in Chicago, moved up there, stayed in this like model apartment.
Wait,
And
can you tell the story about the Italian girl and how you learned to dress with more expensive clothes but less of them?
yes. So that was actually, I forgot about this piece.
Oh.
This was the first agent that I was with who lived in this big, beautiful mansion north on Lakeshore Drive. And I stayed with her. She had all these bedrooms up on her third floor. So I stayed there for a while. And the bedroom next door was this beautiful Italian model. And I just remember, and she was like maybe 2 years older than me. So I thought like the sun just rose and set on her. Everything she did, like I studied and I watched. So she, would bring me, and she'd bring me with her places, like, and do things with me, which was so generous. But she showed me her closet, and there were like 8 things in her closet. That was it. She was here from Italy. There were 8 things, but there were the most beautiful pair of red leather pants I'd ever seen in my life.
And like
It
all
was
designer, right? Like
yeah,
all really, really expensive, nice, but like 8 options.
yes, yes, exactly. 8 options, 8 beautiful pieces, 3 gorgeous blouses, 2 t-shirts, 1 other pair of pants, and like 3 pairs of shoes. That was it. And I'm like, how does this work? Like, what is this? And that's what she said to me. She said, we don't buy a lot of clothes. We buy pieces that will last a long time, and that are classic and that we'll love for a long time. And that was super cool. But she was dating like all kinds of like fun guys at the time, and I was super young, but she would take me along like on some of her date. I mean, it was just so fun. It was super fun. But yeah, that was a really big lesson. Not that I necessarily implement that. I have a ridiculous like amount of stuff, and I would like to. I'm glad you brought it up, because I'm going to think about that more now.
We just had this conversation last night, Alex and I, about spring. We did a big spring clean and had this whole conversation about investing in quality pieces. And yes, I think it's all on our minds with the spring approaching.
Good. I like it. I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to know, like, what was your day to day working in the 80s slash?
Yeah.
Well, I'm so nostalgic for the early 80s, even though I wasn't alive then, because I talked to one of your now agents, and she was like, back in the 80s, there was so much work. I didn't even have enough models or actors to even fill all the jobs. There was so much going on. And now it's like, we will pay you $100 to come up with your own look, shoot your own photo, edit it, and then send us the finished product. Like,
Yeah.
it's just such a different time. And I just kind of want to hear your, like what it was like for you working then.
It really was a different time. The 80s were crazy. It was nuts at that time. Like, every job was a party. It just was. Like, every single job was a party atmosphere. So that was super fun. And, the hair and makeup was crazy at that time. Like, the biggest hair you could possibly get is what they wanted. The most eyeliner you could get, on your eyes. I mean, it literally, I remember going home and I would have to shower and like brush conditioner through my hair to try to get out like all the product and all the stuff. But so obviously I was on my own at a very young age. And when I was in Chicago, that was one thing. When I decided to move back to St. Louis, I lived in an apartment down in the Central West End. And, yeah, I mean, I worked every single day, every day. And it was a very fun time. It was a very, very fun time. And all of those people, also became my friends. And, most of them have stayed in my life all this time too, which is kind of cool. But another thing, which is interesting that I know that I've carried with me all these years is that in the 80s, and I find, because obviously I still work on sets most days, in the 80s, there was this rule that if your call time was 8 o'clock, if at 8 o'clock, that timer would go off and whoever was not on set was responsible for paying for the rest of the crew their rate for however long they were late. Yeah, it was the rule. So that like stuck in my head. So everybody would show up. Like if your call time was 8 o'clock, you would be standing tall, the producer seeing you at 7:45. And
wow.
yeah, and it was a good rule because, certain people with time, it's very fluid for them. And they're like, yeah, 8 o'clock, I'll just leave my house at a couple minutes till, it'll be fine. And this business, as you girls both know, is so time sensitive, so it's so important to be on time. But anyway, I am like being late makes me twitch. Like I don't think I've ever been late for anything because, of that sort of mindset that I've carried with me all these years.
Oh my gosh, that is a wonderful rule. I think I need to implement it for myself. I'm terrible. Alex, you must get that from your mom because you are always so prompt. You're early, and I'm always like scrambling to get on here. And I'm like, sorry, I was just running from somewhere else and I wasn't ready. And anyway, I like
do
that.
Get that from you. I get so stressed being late. Like so it's more for myself because even if I skate in by the skin of my teeth, I'm still stressed for an hour after because I cut it too close. So it's like,
absolutely.
I can't even do it to myself.
And Tina, you're right. I mean, they did grow up like that. So all three of mine, when I say they are prompt, I remember we were all going to a friend of mine's house for a pool party one time. And it was like 10 minutes to the time they were going to show up. And I mean, right at like 3 minutes till all three cars pull up and they arrive. And my friend was like, whoa, you run a tight ship. I'm like, yes, I do.
Yes, I do. That is so cute.
In the world, yeah, that they wouldn't be there. Exactly.
I love that. Okay, so you've got 3 children.
Yes.
Alex is the oldest, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how long were you in Chicago and how soon after did Alex come into the picture?
So I was in Chicago for a year, and then I was in Chicago twice. So once at 17, I went up there. I was with the agent that I lived with for a while. And then I came home for a little while and met Alex and Natalie and Johnny's dad, and we started dating, and then we broke up, and it was very dramatic. So I hopped in my car and moved back up to Chicago. So that's when I lived there for another about 9 or 10 months and came home for Christmas, and we ran into each other, and then we were all back together, and that was that. So that's when I then stayed home. So I was there for about a year and a half, both times combined. So
I don't remember you ever not working. So can you tell us a little bit how you went from model to commercial actress to makeup artist to producer to now having your clean nail polish company? So what was the can you walk us through the transitions?
Yes.
All while being a mother of 3 children. I mean, that's a job in itself. So how did you balance all of this?
It is. And what I've always said is that I feel so fortunate to be working in this industry because I've always worked. I love to work. I love, love, love to work. And while having my children, I was able to kind of morph, you know what I mean? Because I control my schedule. So I can take jobs when I can take them, and I turn them down when I, turn them down. So this industry has been really, really good to me, and I've loved it. So at the end of being in Chicago, I met a girl who was a makeup artist, and she was a fabulous makeup artist, and we became friends. And while working up there, on days that I wasn't booked as a model, I apprenticed with her and loved it and thought, well, this is a great cool skill also. And so when I did decide to move back to St. Louis, I started up my makeup business. And it was at that time, most of the time there was a makeup artist on set. But as now, always too, there's sometimes budget lets you have a makeup artist there and sometimes not. So the agencies in town hired me also not only to be on set, but to give lessons to actors and models how to do their makeup. So that was a fun way to kind of get into it. And it was great. It was just a ton of fun to be able to do that. And so I've worked since then also as a makeup artist and stylist on set. I always did, because of modeling, was always doing on camera work. So whether it was print or a spokesperson, I was in the 80s. There was a clothing company here called Fashion Gal, and I was the Fashion Gal. So
Yes.
I did all of their commercials and print and all of that. So that was, it was just a really fun time to do all that. And then, as I started getting a little more confident, also in my speaking skills, I did a lot of spokesperson and still do a lot of spokesperson work. I have a good skill set on teleprompter and my earpiece. So it's nice, I can work with a lot of different clients in a lot of different ways.
And then how did you put all of this together and start producing? Because I feel like the best producers have had all the other jobs. Like you've been a makeup artist, you've been a model, you've been an actor, you've been a stylist.
Yeah.
So, and producers need to know what everyone else needs on set. So,
Yes.
but how did like the first two jobs go? Like how was the first start of that?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. And again, I was lucky enough to have a really good friend who's an exceptional photographer here in town who said, you are really good at delegating and really good at kind of being in charge. And like you said, you know all of the departments and what they need and the information that they need. I think you would be great at that. And actually, Tina, it was Greg Goldman, who was the first person that I ever produced for. And it was actually for casino jobs.
Oh my gosh. So if anyone doesn't know, Kathy hired me as a makeup artist this last November, and Greg Goldman was the photographer, and we all flew out to Arizona. We had an awesome 4-day shoot working at casinos. And I love how that's all circled together. That's awesome.
Yes. So, and that was, as you know, now being on it, those are kind of big jobs, and they're
huge jobs,
crazy, and there's people everywhere, and there's a ton of talent, and it's a lot. So it was kind of like, learn, quick and like figure stuff out. So now I produce for 5 different photographers, strictly photography, not video production. When I do any video production, I have a partner who I work with for that. But I love it. I love producing for these photographers also because they're amazing. And I believe so much in them that, it makes it easier to work, with them in doing that. Yeah.
For sure.
So
and you are so
my favorite things.
You're so good at it too. You just like come to life and you're always full of life, but watching you work on set, it was like, oh my God, she knows what's up. It was so fun to watch you work.
Thanks, Tina. Yes. That's really sweet. Thank you.
Oh, totally. So I'm dying to know where and when and how was the K.Ferrara polish born? Why did you start it? When did it start? Tell us all the things.
Okay. This has just been crazy. So I have always been weirdly obsessed with nail polish color. I just have. Like I will wear and choose nail polish, and always, I know this sounds weird, but always people will say, oh, what is that color? That color, I love your color nail polish. Always. And also, 14 years ago, I was diagnosed with colon cancer. And after that diagnosis, I started really looking at chemicals I was putting on my body and in my body and things that I was using. And so one day I was actually on set, and a woman said to me, oh my God, that nail polish color. I just wish there was a line of polish with all the good colors, so I wouldn't have to go to that wall of colors in the salon and like figure out what's the best red, what's the best neutral. I'm like, yeah, that would be awesome. And I am just the person to do it because I love nail polish color. So in thinking about that, those two things, I thought, okay, if I'm going to bring something to market, it can't just be another product for women that doesn't mean anything. It's got to be something that will not harm women, that's a good choice for them. So I found a manufacturer that would do everything for me, that would work with my exact color palette that I wanted, as well as making it a 10 free product, which means it's free of the 10 most harmful chemicals that are in most polish brands. So we work very closely together on color and formula. And we launched June of 2017, which this is also crazy, which I didn't know, but the day we launched is actually National Nail Polish Day. And I had no
and you
idea.
didn't know?
I did not know. It was crazy. You know how you look up like all the days of that everything
Yes.
is? And I'm like, wait, what? This was national.
That is so
got to be a good
kismet.
sign. Yeah.
A great sign.
A great sign. So we are having a blast, and it has been nothing but so much fun and such a huge learning experience. Like I learned something new every single day with this business. I mean, it's a blast. I know social media, I know manufacturers, I know vendors, I know every piece of it. And I think you two both know, but when I was starting to talk about the product and that I'm going to do this, and this is what I'm going to do, my dad had just retired. And so he said, well, you've been talking about this nail thing for a while. Do you need help with this? I'm like, well, I'm sure I do. Like, what would you be willing to help with? And he's like, well, I'm not doing anything now. I'm retired. What if I ship? I'm like, amazing. That would be so amazing. So we set up the whole shipping department in their lower level.
My grandparents.
So, yeah. So
this is the sweetest.
It's the best, Tina. It is the best. So they'll be just going about their day, doing what they're doing, and their phone will ding and they'll be like, oh, we've got some orders. And they'll both go downstairs. And my dad does all the labeling, and my mom beautifully packages it up with so much love and care. And it's awesome.
You can totally tell it's packaged with love and care. I love ordering from K.Ferrara Color because every time I get the box, it's like a celebration, and I open it and it's so delicately placed and styled, and you can just tell somebody personally took the time to make it special. It feels so special. And I'm so excited because I think it gets here today, your newest product that launched. Can you tell us about the new product? I think I was like packing, and it gets here today, and I can't wait to open it.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for ordering it. And
of course,
I'm so excited to hear what you think of it. I'm loving this product so much. I mean, I swear, of course I'm super passionate about it, but this is like a magic cream. This cream is so good. First of all, it's clean. So it's no fragrance, no parabens, the 6 most harmful things that are in most hand creams are not in this. This is very, very clean product. What it does, so you put it on and you'll like put it on your hands and you'll get it in there, and for about 15 to 20 minutes, you'll feel it on there and you'll be able to like rub it in. And then at like the 20-minute mark, it's all sunk into your skin. Your hands look like silk. They feel so good. And then the really magic part is the next day you'll wake up and you'll be like, wait, do my hands still feel moist and plump? Yes, they do.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it like lasts for so long. And now I can't really, advertise this, I don't think, but my dad had some scratches and things on his hand. And so he took it and he put it on for 2 nights and they were gone. It has some healing components in it. It's amazing. This cream is so good.
I need
my
to get
hands,
some for Vin too.
Yeah.
I need it. I need
For
it.
sure.
My hands are like, they've aged so much in this pandemic with all of the sanitizer.
Yes.
And my hands, I look down at them and I'm like, oh my gosh, you think I was like a 95-year-old woman, like by looking at my hands, but I can't wait to try this and have them healed.
I can't wait. You have to tell me every single thing you think about it.
Oh, I totally will. I totally will.
And really, the thing that I always tell people, it's not just nail polish. It's the fact that it's perfectly curated with what is like truly just like the best of the best colors, and also that it's clean. And I always say that clean beauty is not a trend. It's just the way of the future. So it's pregnancy safe. It's safe for kids. There's a kids line. It's safe if you have kids and you're touching them and you don't want chemicals on your hands. Also, if you want to go get your mani-pedi professionally, go do it. And you can just bring the nail polish with you. I do that all the time. That all the time.
I mean, I think that's the best idea anyway, to always bring your polish with you. So it's yours. Like it's, it's your polish.
Yeah.
I love that.
So we want to ask you some rapid fire questions right now. So we want to know, we know you have the lowest alcohol tolerance of anyone we've ever met. And I'm slowly turning into you all of a sudden. I used to have a really high tolerance and my tolerance has plummeted. But if you are having a cocktail, half of one, a sip of one, what are you having?
My favorite cocktail, which if I do have this, I will drink the whole thing because I love it so much, is a paper plane. Have you ever had one of those?
No, what is a paper plane? I've never even heard of it.
Oh, you will love it. So it is equal parts Aperol, Amaro, bourbon, and fresh lemon. Equal parts.
That sounds delicious and right up my alley.
You would love it. You would love it.
It's delicious. And you shake it in a shaker with ice.
I'm a professional drinker and I have never heard of it. I am so excited to try this.
This is a cool, kind of a cool story. So there was a place in Chicago that we would go to. Alex, you were probably too young when we would go there, but called the, what's it called? The Violet Hour or the Violet. It's this really famous bar that's super cool. And the bartender there is who invented it. And it was kind of a riff off a cocktail called The Last Word. Have you ever had that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to get my act together.
Oh, The Last Word. I've got, maybe not on the podcast, but another time I'll tell you the craziest last word story. Alex, do you know this?
What?
Should I say it?
Yes.
I'm scared.
Spill the tea.
Sure.
Is a crazy story.
You have to tell it now.
This is when, so Johnny is a senior in high school.
Oh, this
okay?
one. This
Your youngest son, right?
Yeah,
So,
my
or no,
youngest
middle
youngest,
child.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
youngest child.
Youngest child.
He's just so tall and so grown up that he seems older, but he's the youngest.
Okay, so he's a senior in high school and he's invited to a million proms. Like he's going to proms every weekend, okay? Just constantly going to proms.
Literally like like 4 times a weekend, Johnny was
Yeah.
at prom.
Oh,
it was
my God.
Proms in like everywhere. So I am one of the moms in charge of the mom prom, okay? The mom prom is going to be Sunday night, and I've been secretly meeting with all the moms because we're going to do a secret flash dance to surprise all the boys. Flash mob. Yeah, sorry. Flash mob to surprise all the boys. So I'm all excited about this, and we've been planning it, and it's so much fun. Okay. So Saturday night, Johnny is going to another prom, okay? And I say to him, you better not drink because we have to be in good shape for the mom prom. I'm so excited about it, Johnny. Like, be good. Please come home. We have to be in good shape. Okay, Mom. Okay, I gotcha. So that night, I go to my friend Danny, you also know now.
Yes.
Danny's birthday party. So I walk into this really fun party and one of my friends says, hey, we're so happy you're here. Do you want a glass of wine or do you want this fun drink, The Last Word? I'm like, well, I want the last word. I mean, I want a fun drink. Like, what do you mean? So The Last Word is supposed to be served like in a little glass and well, I had like a cup of the last word.
Oh no.
And again, I am a serious lightweight anyway. I remember a bunch of my friends getting me in the car. I remember Joe driving me home and like lights flashing past my face. The next day, I was so sick. Tina, here's how sick I was. I was sick.
No.
I lost 6 pounds that day.
No.
I'm not exaggerating.
Like throwing
That's how
up,
sick I was.
could not move.
Kathy, no.
Yeah,
Like
everybody.
poisoned.
Yeah, totally poisoned. Everybody in my life is running to like Whole Foods and going places to get me any hangover cure that
Oh
they
my
can
God.
get me, because that night is the mom prom.
Oh
So
my God.
finally at like 5 o'clock, I crawl out of my bed. I get myself into the shower. Joe has a little table set up next to where I'm doing my makeup with all of the things for me to sip and try to eat. And I somehow make it there, and my dress like fit me so nicely because I had lost. So all my friends were like, "Oh, you look great in that outfit." I'm like, "Yeah, well."
Yeah, I just threw it all up. So,
So
oh
that
my
is
God.
my crazy last word story. So be careful if you try that one.
Be careful. Oh, you will have the last word.
Yes.
It had the last word.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It will have the last word.
Appropriately. Yeah.
Oh, I am so happy you shared that story. That is iconic.
It's
I
crazy.
love that. Oh my God, Kathy. Okay. So to stick with the rapid fire questions.
Yeah, sorry, that wasn't very,
No,
quick.
please.
Oh my God. No, love it. We love that. So, okay. If you've already got your K.Ferrara polish on the desert island, but you're on a desert island, what are your 2 beauty products that you can't live without that you must have in addition to your K.Ferrara color polish?
I need all of my beauty products, first of all. I need
So do
every
we.
single
Right.
one of them. The 2 that I think I rely on the most, believe it or not, are my Crest white strips and my Latisse. Do you know about Latisse?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the eyelash.
Yeah.
So we
Serum, right?
we actually use a similar thing. I love the Rodin and Fields,
Mhm.
which is
Yes.
a lot like Latisse. It's the kind, I feel like it's probably a very similar.
probably the same,
ingredients.
yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Those serums are a game changer.
They
Yeah.
really are. And I am like all about the white teeth and the long lashes. And I've tried like every, all those cool lashes that everybody has. I can't, I just can't deal with them. So I'm just like, I'm going to just try to make my own, continue to use. So those are my 2 products.
I love that.
They're really important to me.
That's a good
Those are
answer.
excellent. Those are really good.
So I feel like I might have an idea of this, but we want to know who is inspiring to you.
Here's who I love. I have to say to you, I don't know if I want to name a person. When I think about people or who inspires me, I think about people who are creating things. That's what I think about. I am very lucky to be surrounded by people who are about something, that they're making something, whether it's photography, whether it's video, whether it's a product, whether it's an idea, whether it's even an event. Whatever it is, like those are the people I want to be around. I have a really hard time having conversations with people about kind of what is. You know what I'm saying? Like what is right now. My conversations always lean towards what can we do? Like what can we create? How can we make this happen? What new recipe? What fun dinner party? Like what can we create? That is when I get like really jazzed up. One of my best friends, Danny, he's the same way. Like, that's why I just get so jazzed when we're together, because we're like, what can we do? Like, how can we make this better? So those are like, that's what inspires me, so it's not, I don't know if it's necessarily a person. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Tina and I are the exact same
Yes.
way. We're always
Yes,
saying, okay,
you
what can
are.
we do next? What creative thing? Who's doing what?
Yes.
That's literally how this podcast even started. We're the same way.
Right.
You
Yeah.
are, you exactly are, like pulling things out of nothing, like creating something and just figuring out how to make it happen. And that's exactly what you 2 are all about, and why it's so fun to watch everything that you have going on. It's a blast, and it's very, very exciting.
Oh,
Thanks,
thank you.
Mom.
Yeah.
Well, you inspire us, Kathy. That's for sure. That's for sure. Now, Mother's Day is coming up. It's just around the corner. I know that Alex made you a mom. So tell me a little bit. Can you share with us, what was Alex like as a baby, as a little girl, as a child? What was it like? Little baby Alex.
It was kind of a lot.
Alex was literally a mini version of who she is right now. Truly. So,
oh my God.
yeah, I mean, she was hilarious. I always felt like I had, even like literally when she was 2 years old, I felt like I had a little friend with me all the time because she was in charge. She did not want to miss out on anything. I have pictures of her. She would not go to bed to save her life. Not because she wasn't tired, but because she did not want to miss out on anything. I have so many pictures of her laying like in the hallway with just her head peeking around the corner just so she can see. And that's how she would fall asleep too.
That is the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
I know. In the hallway, like just peeking around, just to have eyes on us, that we weren't doing anything, without her. She also, because she's only 22 months older than Natalie. So, I mean, she was a baby when Natalie was born. In most worlds, she would be a baby, but she was not. She was, I had like a co-mom with me at all times, parenting, Natalie and Johnny both. There was, I think I just sent you, Alex, a picture of this. There was a time when I had the two of them in the family room and I had to run and go to the bathroom really quick, came back out. Natalie apparently needed changed. Alex had her diaper off and was changing her diaper.
No.
She was
no.
two. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That does sound like Alex. Like she's just like, oh, I see something that needs to be done. I'll just do that. I'll take care of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Oh my God. I love that.
I know. I had a little best friend, seriously, from the second she was born. Yeah.
And then you had a little bossy friend. And then I was like, I'm having my own talk show. It's called At Home with Alexandra. And I would like make everyone do whatever I wanted.
Wait, you had a talk show?
Wait, so
this isn't your first interview show?
No, this is not my first. It goes way back to when I was 10 and I wore fake glasses and I had a little index cards and I would make my mom set up the camera and I would interview guests and we would do makeovers. We would do interviews. It was At Home with Alexandra. And I was so bossy. I would make Natalie and Johnny were like my brother and sister were like my assistants. My mom was like doing the camera. I think.
And Grandma and Pap would be guests. They would come over. And she did not like any messing it up. Like if Johnny would make a joke in there somewhere, forget it. No. Yeah.
Oh,
she just canceled the whole thing. We have to start over. Yeah.
Oh, I would die for some of those home videos. I can only imagine. Oh, please. I would love to find an episode or two of At Home with Alexandra. Please send those over.
Oh my God. Mom, you're the best. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, you guys, thank you so much for having me. To be in the same kind of room with the two of you two is a gift. So
we can't wait to have you in person in New York. We'll have to all go out and have paper planes and the last words.
Yes.
In person and go for it.
I love that. Thank you guys so very much for having me.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. We love you.
I love you both.
And we have another very special guest. This time, we're going to be speaking to my mother, lovingly referred to as Momo. We call her in my family. And that's Susan Scariano. There you are.
We see you. You look so pretty.
I have a bunch of crap in the back. Is that all right?
It's great.
That's great.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
You are so beautiful.
As Tina would say, you do this all the time.
She really does.
I do, don't I? We're so excited to have you here today.
I'm really nervous, but I'm excited as well.
You're amazing. You also just look so beautiful. Your skin is flawless. Your hair is great. You have this gorgeous lip color on. It's all working. And you guys look so much alike. I can handle it.
I know we do. And I love it.
I know we're twins. We're twins.
I love
so
it.
you're on Mountain Standard Time.
Correct.
right? Because where are you coming to us from?
I'm coming to you from the heart of Billings, Montana.
Sure are. Yeah, that's where you were born and raised in Billings, Montana, right?
I was.
You went to school in Bozeman, which is like 2 hours from
Yes.
Billings. But did you ever have any want or desire to leave Billings and live somewhere else?
No. I've been fortunate enough to be able to travel the world, and this is my home. I love it. I love it.
You do love it. What do you
I
like the
do.
most about it? Do you like the community? What do you love about it?
That's a really good question. The rim rocks.
And can you tell us a little bit about the rim rocks are? Because I know what those are.
I have no
They
idea.
are, it is, when you fly into Billings, you actually fly in and land on top of the rim rocks. And it's just this beautiful bank of rocks, like a mountain, only it's a bank of rocks that they call the rim rocks, where in the cowboy and indigenous people day, there's all kinds of history there. And you can imagine, the Indians up on the rim, top of the rims, and watching the valley below, and the Yellowstone River runs through there. It's just gorgeous. It's not like any rock formation you've ever seen, not like a mountain or
It's really
sandstone
That
and
sounds so
pine
pretty. I have
trees.
to come visit. I've never been to Montana ever. I need to come and visit you guys. But so I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I feel like Montana and Missouri, there's a similar energy to people
Yes.
from the Midwest. Because when people ask me to describe Tina and I in our podcast, I always want to say we're two Midwest gals in New York. But like Montana's not the Midwest, but I feel that from Tina's energy so much. So I feel like there's a little bit of a similarity.
I think so too. I have a lot of relatives that are from Missouri.
Oh.
And so, yes, I feel it that way as well.
Totally. And Mom, something that I love about you, and it's very similar to Alex and I, is that you have had a million different jobs. Like
I have.
You name it, and I'll call you with any question. Well, I know how to do that because I either figured it out or I worked and I did that. So can you give us kind of a rundown of all the different jobs that you've had throughout? I mean, starting from your very first job.
My very first job is I taught baton twirling at the city recreation department here in Billings, Montana, to grade schoolers.
That's amazing.
Yes, that was my very first job. And then after that, between college summers, I worked for the recreation department, and I'd always taught dance or baton. And the other classes that they offered were arts and crafts. And so I've always been really artsy and crafty. And
you have.
Like one year I said, can I please teach arts and crafts for the summer? And so I did that one summer. And then after that, my junior and senior year of college, I put myself through college by working at a place called Mr. Steak. And I don't know if they have Mr. Steaks anymore, but it was the greatest job. I made enough money for an apartment, a car, my tuition. I guess the most memorable thing about that job was that I waited on Marlon Brando.
Wow.
Wait, you did? I didn't know that.
Yes, when he was here filming Missouri Breaks, I think. And
oh my God.
I was so embarrassed, you guys, because he ordered a captain's platter, which is all seafood. And I said, how would you like that cooked?
Oh God.
But it's fish. And I'm like, oh.
And
I got a $6 tip. And I'll never forget that he ordered 2 pieces of blueberry pied a la mode.
And did he eat them both?
Yeah.
So
and
interesting.
Was a $6 tip back then? Was that a good tip?
It was pretty good. It was marginal. I mean,
but like Marlon Brando could have done a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, a long time ago. That was in 1975. Let's see, what did I do after that? Oh, I actually went to college and became, my degree was special education. And
wait, hold on. I did not know that. So my sister went to school for special education, and she's she's a teacher for kids with special needs, and now a therapist for kids with special needs. I had no idea.
Yeah, and I graduated in special ed, elementary ed.
Oh my gosh, good for you.
So I actually taught 5th grade resource room for 1 year. And then I had Samantha, Tina's older sister. And then I didn't work for a while. And then I went to work for a department store here in Billings. and then sold cosmetics for several years. And then I went to work for Estee Lauder, and I worked for them for 19 years.
Wow.
And that's when I was growing up. I knew you as the Estee Lauder mom, and you always had a French twist and navy blue nylons and block heels and like the little navy blue dress that you had to wear. And it's so funny, Mom, because whenever I used to call the store to call, because I'd call her when I got out of school, or if I needed something, or sometimes I just called to say hi or whatever. I always had to call, and I would talk to this woman named Darlene. She was the person that always, what was her job title?
Oh, Darlene. Well, she was the my account manager, or she was the department manager for the cosmetics. But
okay, I'd call and she'd answer the phone, and I'd be a little girl and I'd say, "Hi, it's Tina. I'm calling for my mom, Susan." "Oh, hi, Tina. Let me put you right through." "Okay, well, guess who I talked to today? Darlene."
Oh my
because
gosh.
Now Darlene is my financial advisor. She then went to work for my dad years later and took over his office. And so now she's all of our financial advisors. And so
Darlene?
So we've known Darlene for years, but that's a fond memory, calling your counter. And then I always loved coming to work with you, especially when it was like Christmas time and they would close down the stores and you'd get everybody to shop with a discount. And Mom knew I loved cash registers. I've always loved the buttons. So upstairs, they had like a whole room of just cash registers where like all the offices were. And she would let me just go there and just type on all the cash registers all night while she did work. And
that is so cute.
It was fun. Yes. I learned a lot in retail. You can learn a lot working retail.
I'm sure. And Tina and I feel like we always talk about, we have so many similarities, but one of them is that we both grew up with makeup artist moms. And we both just I don't remember a time where I didn't know just kind of the basics of makeup. It was just something, totally. It was like, you know it. And here's your skincare. It was just a part of the routine. Like we were not the girls who were like, got to a certain age and we're like, what do we do? It was just, no, we always know it. It's always in our house. It's always around.
And so, because you were always interested in creative things and design and stuff like that, what made you interested in makeup? When did it shift over to makeup?
I always loved makeup. I did always love makeup, but that was just, I needed a job, and that job was available that suited me at the time. And I fell in love, kind of like what you've done.
It's very true.
It's such a positive thing. It's not negative. It's happy. It's positive. You make people feel good about themselves. They look good. They feel good. They're happy. They're grateful. It's just it's a really wonderful industry.
I totally agree with you. And I think for people who have not worked in the business, who have never been a makeup artist, it's so much more than just the makeup. You're making someone see themselves in a way they haven't, or make them feel better, or you're covering up something on their skin that makes them feel bad. And then they look in the mirror and they smile. It's so much more than just the makeup. You're literally making someone feel better about themselves. And that's huge.
It is.
Well, Mom, okay, so now we're going to kind of run into like a rapid fire questioning here for you.
Yikes.
And I think I know the answer to most of these questions, but let's start with the most fun question. Well, they're all really fun, but here's one that I know the answer to, but I don't know if Alex knows the answer. What's your favorite cocktail?
Well, I actually think I know part of this answer, because I know, Tina, you have told me that you and your mom love Kim Crawford wine. And I also love Kim Crawford, but that's not a cocktail. So like, I might know one of your favorite wines, but I want to know the cocktail.
And my favorite cocktail is Hendrick's Martini Dirty Up.
Hendrick's Gin is the best.
It's good.
And we can knock back a few of those at a time.
Yeah, we can.
I love that.
I'm the opposite. I like the same thing, but with vodka. It just goes down way better for me. Gin for some reason, but I love the same thing. I love just a vodka martini up with olives. It's my go-to.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I want to know, and especially with your history and your makeup history, what are the 2 products? Could be skincare, it could be makeup, that you just cannot live without, that when they're empty, you run to the store, that you just gotta have.
Well, it definitely is the Double Wear Foundation from Estee Lauder.
I knew you were going to say that.
You both love that so much.
And I think it would be lipstick, because you could use it as blush and lips. If you got really desperate, you could probably do a little bit on your eyelids. The beauty of not having worked for Estee Lauder since, oh gosh, I can't remember when I left. I think it was 1999. Was then I could just try everything that I wanted to try.
First of all, you guys are both obsessed with the Estee Lauder foundation, and I have not tried it. I have to try it. And second of all, the lipstick is super smart because of what you just said. It can also be a blush. I mean, Tina and I also were really into cream blush now for that reason, just like a little on each cheek. So I think that's a perfect answer.
And as you age, you are much better off with a cream blush because it doesn't fall into the fine lines and wrinkles.
Okay, so I really want to know, because I met Tina, I mean, we were in our early mid-20s when we met. So I do not know anything about little baby Tina, childhood Tina, besides the photos that I've seen, which are just a trip. But I want to know what she was like as a kid. Is there a funny story?
You're going to make me cry.
Oh.
She was an angel. It was just an angel.
Oh, you are the sweetest. You are so sweet.
And I have a little granddaughter now, Savannah. Excuse me. It's just like her. Sorry, guys.
She does, Tina. Your niece does look exactly like your child.
I know.
Her personality. I mean, Tina was a perfect child. She was just a joy to have. Tina had a big personality. She always wanted to be a comedian. This is at the age of like 5. And she would tell stories and sing. I always knew she was going to be an entertainer, always. She was a really good kid. I didn't have any trouble with her until she pierced her belly button.
Yeah, well,
I've told that story. I've told that story. Where I said, I pierced my belly button, and then my mom said, well, then that's when we lost you.
Yeah.
Those teenage years are just a nightmare for everyone.
They are, and I don't care who you are. I mean, I think back of me even doing things that I shouldn't have done.
Of course.
Every kid does it. Every kid does it. So anything specific about Tina, let me think.
Like what was she up to? What was like 8-year-old Tina up to in her free time? Like, what did you walk in on her doing?
Playing Barbies with 2 of her friends in a closet, a little huge closet that we had in this bonus room. She'd be out shooting hoops. She'd be out jumping on the trampoline. She was a little fish. We had a swimming pool in our backyard, and she was a fish. She would do this. I mean, her little body would just, very active, always singing, very grown up.
You're the most fun person I know. You're so fun and you have the best attitude. And you also are the strongest person I know. You're the strongest woman I know. And you're my touchstone for anything, anytime. I've watched you completely take control of your life, and you've always been the strongest woman around. And I want to know who inspires you or what inspires you in your life.
Not to sound weird, but good old Lord inspired me. There's some divine intervention there, some way, somehow. It's just there. It's there. I've dealt with a lot of pain and awful things and health problems and whatnot. And what happens is you just go into, if something happens, you say, okay, we're going to handle this. We're not going to like sit and cry and weep and, how do I handle it? Because that's how my mother always handled things. Everything was, oh no, the sky is falling. It's good. So I guess I thought I'm not going to be like that. I'm not going to let that control me. I'm going to control it.
Right.
So I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
No, it's a great thing. You're very strong, and that's very inspiring because we cannot control what's thrown at us. And we've all go through such unimaginable, painful, hard times, everyone. And that attitude of like, okay, I don't know how, but we're going to handle this and we're going to get through this.
I don't know where I got that strength. To be honest with you, I really don't. I think when I was a little girl, I never cried. I still don't. I wish I did, but I never.
You cried on this. You just cried on this podcast, and I've never seen you cry.
I know. Yes. Okay.
But that was a happy cry. So
It was.
maybe you're a
That was a happy
joyful
cry.
crier, a happy when things are really
Yeah.
happy and good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
those
true.
are happy tears. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate that.
Are you watching anything or reading anything cool that you might want to recommend? Like, is there a new book you love or a TV show you're loving right now?
Well, Tina, and you're going to think I'm crazy.
No.
Cray. I never watched the Gilmore Girls. And Tina kept talking about the Gilmore Girls. And so I'm on like season 6 and I love it so much. I'm obsessed.
It's so good.
I know. I didn't know.
They remind me so much of you and me, Mom. Like they're best friends and they're so similar. I'm like, that was me. That's me and my mom.
Yep. And you can like finish each other sentences and whatnot.
Yep.
I think the last book I read was Where the Crawdads Sing. Is that what it's called?
But that's a great one.
It's a great book.
I watched Handmaid's Tale and it's sort of started again, but it's kind of disturbing.
Oh my gosh. I literally just texted Tina about this very thing last night. I was like, okay, so excited. Handmaid's Tale is back. I binged the first 3 episodes, but fair warning that it's very disturbing. So
okay. So have you guys watched This Is Us?
Yes.
I'm not caught up, but yes.
Okay, so I find that disturbing. I have to be in the right frame of mind to watch that. And I was out with girlfriends the other night, and one of them said, "I can't watch it. It's the most depressing show on TV." And I'm like,
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it is kind of depressing. It's kind of like hard. So
it's I have to be totally in the right mindset.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I actually totally agree with you. I feel like This Is Us, there's no humor in it. I feel like it's like, how many different ways can we make you cry? But do you know what I feel like is the better version of This Is Us is Parenthood. Have you guys watched
I'll have to try that.
Oh my
Parenthood
God.
is
So
great.
it's Lauren Graham from Gilmore Girls. She's in it.
Oh.
And it is like This Is Us. It's a story of a family, but they really do it right. They show the highs and the lows and the funny moments. There's always humor to it.
Yes.
It's just
I will mark that down.
addicting. I think that you would love it. My mom just watched the whole thing. I rewatched the whole thing. My grandparents love it. Like a lot of my friends love it. I feel like you would love that show.
Okay. Now, something I do have to ask is because I asked you for some photos and you so graciously sent over some wonderful photos of the two of us together, which I loved. And my favorites were the ones from the 80s, like late 80s, and your hair is incredible. It's like a lion's mane. And I know that there's another one of you and my sister Samantha, my older sister Samantha, and your hair's even curlier. And I know you know what I'm talking about. You had the bangs and it's so curly.
I look like a poodle.
A very adorable poodle. How did you do that? How did you get your hair like that?
Well, that particular one, oh gosh. So Samantha was a baby. And so it had to have been 1980 or that picture was taken. I actually had a perm, which I have really naturally curly. Not anymore.
Really
now
curly.
It's naturally frizzy, wavy. Oh, I look like a Brillo.
I'm sure you looked adorable. I am a huge
I mean,
fan
in the day it was cool because all you had to do is wash your hair and then pick it out with a pick.
But like you teased it, right? I mean, I remember my mom had big 80s hair and you didn't tease it. No,
My
you just
hair
got a
was
perm.
that curly.
Got it. Okay. So my mom didn't get the perm. She didn't get the perm, but like I remember she would tease it just to like make it bigger. It was always like, how can I get it bigger?
Yes.
I love it. I love the 80s hair look. I really love it.
I don't know if that'll come back.
I don't know. The 90s are coming back. I wonder if the big hair is gonna. Mom, you're a dreamboat. I love you so much.
I love you. I cannot wait to see you.
I know.
Have so much fun in Florida. I am jealous. I'm going to Florida with my family, but not until August. So Tina is going first, and I am so excited for you guys. You guys are going to have a ball.
Yes, when this airs, we'll be in Disney World. Well, thank you so much, Momo. We love you, and we're so happy you came on the podcast.
Thank you.
so
I appreciate
much.
you guys.